Miss Appleton and I are here today to go over a few things that you're going to do in your advisory. So I am going to get started first with your career development plan or career development plan plus, depending on how you qualify. So I do have it showing up on my screen right now. I'm going to walk it through step by step. So your advisor that's in the classroom with you today, feel free to pause in between different sections if students need more time or more understanding to ask questions in between the different sections, or feel free to play through it and then pause at the end before Miss Appleton starts her section. So just so you know a little bit about the career development plan, it is something that we do with all students, freshmen through super senior year, just to document what courses you've taken, and it gives us a little insight about the program that you're going into and your career goals. So that way we know how to best support you, and it's just an extra backup check for us to have to see what courses you've taken or have taken and plan to take as you move forward. So as you go through, I am going to have to fill some of this in. But as you go through, you will start by filling in your student name or your name, your PowerSchool number, which is the same thing as your lunch number. So hopefully you know that, but if not, a teacher can help you look it up. And then you will select what grade you're currently in. And this is where it could potentially take some of you to different sections depending on how you answer this last question. So a career development plan or a career development plan plus. The only difference between the two is the CDP plus is for students who have an IEP, a 504, or an EL plan. So if you are on a plan and have any type of modifications or accommodations such as testing in a separate room, read aloud, or any of those items, then you would select CDP plus. So I'm going to show you what CDP plus looks like real quick. So I click on that and we go to next. So when you go to next, you're going to fill in any modifications or accommodations that you might have, and there is a list here. If you have an IEP plan, a 504 plan, or an EL plan, but you have no modifications or accommodations, then you could just click that. But if you do have, let's say, mark and book or read aloud, you would click those, or other. So if something's not listed here that you get, you can click other and type that in. When you hit next, it is going to take you to the CDP continued. So now I'm going to, I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you what it looks like without the CDP plus. So now we're back to that first screen where you type in your name, PowerSchool, grade. So let's say you don't have any of those, then you would click CDP and go to next. And now you go to that CDP continued, so it just skips the CDP plus section. So now we'll move forward. Your anticipated graduation year, I do have it filled out here for you. If you're in 9th grade and you plan on only staying with us for 4 years, then you would pick 2024. If you plan on staying the 5th year, then you would do 25. And that's the same thing for 10th, 11th, and 12th grades. So let's say I'm a freshman and I decide I want to stay the 5th year. So I'm going to pick 2025. And now your best estimated guess for GPA, or we would actually prefer if you looked into PowerSchool, it will tell you in there what your current GPA is, but I'm just going to do a 3.5 for now. And if you're in 9th grade, you're going to go through and pick all the courses that apply to you that you've taken this year. If there's any that are not listed, you would click on other and type them in there. Some 9th graders are taking 10th grade level courses, so if you see any here that qualify for you, then you have 2 options. You can come down here to the 10th grade section and select them, or you can just type them here in the other section. So that is up to you on how you want to do it, but you do not have to do both of those. Moving down, so I filled in like I was in 9th grade, so I am not going to do 10th or 11th, but there are options for you there to look over. 12th grade, these are for seniors who are mostly, I think all of them this year, are taking college courses at Cape Fear, but there could become a time where some of our 12th grade students are in maybe one of our academy options here at CTEC and taking Cape Fear classes. So in that case, they would just list out the courses they're taking here. Since there's so many different courses that they could be taking, I couldn't list them all. And then we want to know what your post-secondary plan is. So whether that's going further into your education or going into employment. So if you plan to stay with Cape Fear after us to either finish a program or get an extra degree, then you would click the first option. The second one is to go to a community college other than Cape Fear Community College. So if you think you might go to Pitt Community College in Greenville, North Carolina for one of the programs over there, then you could click that option. Technical school, which is very specific to some of the technical programs. For example, there are some technical schools related to automotive and culinary and things like that. So if you want to go to one of those very specialized schools, then you could click technical school. If you want to transfer to a four-year college or university, you can click that option. If you think you might want to go into military, that's an important one to click because then that lets me know that you might want to take the ASVAB test, which you would learn more about your junior year if you're interested in military. Or you plan to finish your 2-year degree or whatever degree with Cape Fear and go straight into the workforce. That's an option as well. And then if you have some other plan that has nothing to do with these options, you do have the option to type it in there. All students at this point should have hopefully taken a learning style and career interest inventory. For current 9th graders, I did this with you by coming into your classes last semester, and Ms. Batchelor came in as well. And we did this through Zello, through the learning styles. So if you don't remember how you scored on that assessment, you can go to Zello real quick in your PowerSchool and click on what learning styles you had. Some students you tied between 2 different ones. So let's say if you are visual and tactile, then you can click both. But if you're just visual, then you can just click one. But again, that Zello will tell you. Students 10th grade and up, we did a different assessment with you because Zello is new to us this year. So I'm not sure where you should have gotten your results in an email, but not sure if you have access to those right now. So you could just do your best educated guess on where you think you are as a learner. And you could even ask your advisor to help you with this if you need help. And again, majority of you should be clicking yes to this because I know 10th graders and up, we have done this every year in the past, and then 9th graders, we did this through Zello. There are a handful of you that were absent or remote learners that we're still catching up with, but I know most of you did complete that through Zello. Career cluster, you can also find this in Zello, so that career assessment that you did in Zello or the other platform that we used for 10th grade and up, it did give you one of these 16, and actually there's 17 now because energy was just added recently, 17 career clusters. So you would kind of go through and pick which career cluster that your career goals fall under. If you cannot find this in Zello, feel free to ask your advisor to help you out with where your career goal would fall under. And then at the bottom, these are some other things that you may have participated in throughout the year with us. Unfortunately, we did not get to do CFCC class shadowing this year, but typically in 9th grade, you would be able to sit in on a college class. And our 10th graders, actually, you didn't get to do this either last year because it's something we typically did in the spring semester. So don't worry if you didn't get to do it last year or this year, and you really want to sit in on a college class before taking college courses just to learn more about a program. That is something that hopefully we could hook you up with next year, as long as Cape Fear is willing to let us do that. And I know they're still doing a lot of online classes right now, so we would have to see if they go back to some face-to-face learning next year as well. But if you missed out on that opportunity this year or last spring, then reach out to me if you would be interested in doing that, and we can get you set up. CTSO is a career technical student organization. The two that we have here are Skills USA and NTHS, which is National Technical Honor Society. I don't think much was done with Skills USA this year, but if you were a member in the past and plan to continue to be a member, you can click on that. And then if you were inducted into the program last year, or if you're being inducted tonight to our NTHS induction ceremony, feel free to click that one. And I'm not going to read all of them to you, but feel free to ask your advisor if you have any questions about these different options that you may have participated in. And then the last thing we want to know are your current career goals, and this would also be a great place to put your Cape Fear program area if you know what it is. If you don't know what it is, that's okay. You don't have to put it here, but please let us know. If you do know your Cape Fear program area, list it here, and then please be detailed in what your career goal is, because this will help us with academy planning moving forward, as well as Cape Fear planning, and then just the work that Ms. Batchelor and I do, and Ms. Appleton, as we move forward with getting you into the programs at Cape Fear. Once you do that, then you could hit yes, that you understand this is confidential information that stays between us as educators and you as a student, and then you would hit submit. And if you missed something, it will let you know and take you back to that, and then you would be done with the CDP/CDP Plus. So if you ever want a copy of this, just let me know and I can get you a copy of your CD Plus once you submit it. And there might actually be a way for you to request a copy to be sent to your email if you would like it. But that is all that I have for you. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Appleton to talk about what she needs to share with you.
Hello, everyone. So juniors and seniors should already have completed this. So if you are a junior or senior advisory, feel free to turn off the video here. Or if you have some that haven't, you can go ahead and continue. But for freshmen and sophomores, what we're going to do is learn how to claim your Cape Fear Community College account, because as you know, once you were admitted to CTEC, you also became a dually enrolled college student. So the first thing you're going to do is, let me share my screen. You're going to open up a tab and you're going to go to CFCC.edu, which is going to take you to the Cape Fear Community College homepage. And what you're going to do is over here on the right-hand side, you're going to click on My CFCC. It usually goes a little faster than this. Well, sometimes that happens too. Let's just see what happens if we reload. There, great. So once you click on My CFCC, it should bring you to this screen, and you're going to look down here in the bottom where it says, what's my username, and go ahead and click that. I will say for most people, your username is going to be the first initial of your first name, the first initial of your middle name, your last name, and then the last 3 digits of your Cape Fear ID number. But I like to have students use this feature because sometimes that the usernames are slightly different if there's someone else that has a very similar name. So it's just really best to come on here and figure out exactly what your correct username is. So you're going to type in your last name, and then down here it asks for your social or your ID number. I will say, in regards to your social, when you filled out your Cape Fear Community College application, if you did not use your social security number on that application, then your social security number is not going to work here because they will not have it. So you're probably better off using the ID number, and this is not your New Hanover County Schools ID number. This is your Cape Fear Community College ID number. Sophomores, if you have your Cape Fear ID from last year, your ID number is on there, and that ID never expires. So, and even if it does expire, the number never changes. So you can look at that and get your user ID or your Cape Fear ID number. If you don't have your Cape Fear ID, and of course, freshmen, we have not been able to schedule your Cape Fear ID pictures yet, but I have sent your teachers a list with all of the ID numbers on them, so you can ask your advisor to look up your ID number for you. So once you put in your last name and then your ID, you will click the submit button. I can't actually do the whole process because I currently have an account already, but once you hit submit, it's going to tell you what your username is. So then once you get your username, you're going to go back to this sign-in screen, and then you're going to look down here again, and you're going to click on first-time user. And then this is going to pop up, and it asks for your Cape Fear username, and that is what you just obtained on the last screen. So you're going to type in what your username is, and then when you click next, it's going to prompt you to create a password, and it's going to give you all of the criteria that you have to use to create that password. And then it's also going to ask you to set up some security questions. So in case you ever get locked out of your account or you need to reset your password, those are going to be the questions you'll have to answer for them to be able to verify your identity. So once you do all of that, you will be able to go back to this home screen and put in your new username and the new password that you just created, and you will be able to click log in, and I will be able to show you what that screen should look like once you log in. It's going to look like this, and you're going to have access to all things Cape Fear, their calendar, when they have any announcements. Over here on the left-hand side under the launch pad is where you probably will go most of the time. Once you start taking classes, you'll have access to those over here under Blackboard. You're going to have access to your Cape Fear email here, and Web Advisor is another one that you will use quite often once we get your program area set up with Cape Fear. This is going to be where you're going to be able to view all the classes that are required for whatever program area you select. A lot of these other things you probably won't use very often. Those are probably the three most common, but I will help you more with those things when the time gets closer. For now, I just wanted you to go ahead and get your accounts claimed and set up so you can start exploring. So that is all that we are going to do with that for today. And if you have any questions about anything Cape Fear, please reach out. Otherwise, thanks for your attention.